think baking is hard and you have to like measure everything super exactly. But it really doesn't have to be like that. And I'm going to show you how I make my special baking mix. I want to bake a cake, but I don't know how. Hold me back down to earth and help me figure it out. Welcome. In this probably long video, I'm going to show you how I make all three of those delicious cakes in the intro. And along the way, you're going to become familiar with my method of baking. And it's going to give you the tools to make all the cakes of your wildest dreams. And it all starts with this, my special baking mix. So what is this, and how do I make it? It's self-rising cake flour. That's what it is, and you can buy that at the store. I've never bought it at the store because I have these 4 items in my pantry all the time, so I just make it myself. But how did I come to these amounts, these exact amounts that I mixed together? Well, the cornstarch has a little recipe on the back. I don't know if you can see it. I hope it focuses. For cake flour. So that was easy. So that's the ratio of the cake flour and the cornstarch. And the baking soda and the baking powder. I mean, I just kind of picked a general number. That's kind of, you know, what I'm used to in recipes, and I just kind of tweaked it around, and I got to these amounts that work pretty good. I have tried using less, and it doesn't rise as much, and I have tried using more, and you can taste like the chemicals in there. Plus, it makes your cake more likely to crack. So here it is, the occasion cake that we've made. It's great for birthdays. It's got some sprinkles in there. You could use any kind of rainbow sprinkles, so it's got that funfetti kind of effect inside the cake. Now, I'm not so great with my piping skills with words. That's something I'm working on. But this is a great cake to know how to make. Everybody has special occasions. So let's get into that. I'm gonna bake a cake. We've got a 1/2 stick of room temperature butter, and we're going to add 1/2 cup of sugar. Now, of course, we're going to cream this together. That's why we want it to be room temperature, because if this was cold, this would be a lot harder. And this is how you know you're about done. When you get like this, then you look at it, and you don't see any white chunks in there. You don't see any big chunks of butter that don't have sugar in it. This is pretty good. I think we're basically done. All right, so now we add our wets. What I have here is 1 egg, 1/8 cup of milk, and 1/4 cup of buttermilk. I'm gonna beat this egg, stir this up. Also gonna add in some vanilla extract here. Now, every vanilla extract is different. Use your judgment on how much to use. That's how much I'm doing. Good. Doesn't have to be perfectly smooth, but you don't want any big, huge chunks. All right, so now we're gonna add our baking mix. Remember this? Oh yeah. So right about at 6 cups now. Cool. All right, so my technique for this, I just add some in, and I stir it up, and I see if I need more. There we go. When we stir it fast, it looks kind of solid, but then when we stop, it relaxes back to a liquid. Stir fast, looks solid, stop, and it relaxes. It wouldn't be a celebration birthday cake without the funfetti in there. Put a bunch of sprinkles in, stir it in. Okay, so what is this? This is a springform cake pan. If you have one of these, you should definitely use it. If you don't have one of these, you should go to your nearest thrift store and buy one for like 99 cents because they make it really, really easy. If you don't have one of these and you have one of these, a regular cake pan, yours is probably round, this works just fine. But instead of just greasing it up with butter like we're gonna do with this, you'll probably want to take some parchment paper, put that in the bottom, cut it to the shape, and grease that. It'll make it a lot easier to get your cake out because your cake is gonna stick. Cake's gonna stick. Cakes stick in these things and you lose some if you don't use parchment. It's fine. You'll just have a little chunk and you'll have to take that off and just put it in like a little puzzle piece. It'll be fine. It'll be totally fine. If you don't even have one of these, you probably have one of these. You can make a cake in this thing. It'll be ugly, but in a cool way, kind of like a Dr. Seuss kind of thing. It'll be interesting. You know what? If all you have is this and you want to make a cake, you still make a cake. Do the parchment thing, or don't. You know, whatever. You got to grease it. If you don't grease it really, really well, you're SOL. So, all right. So I'm using this. Got my greasing butter here. First, I just go around with the butter. Then I go with the paper. You don't want to miss anywhere. Super important. This is a very important step. I cannot overstate how important this step is. Okay, there we go. All right, there we go. We're only about a third full, which is pretty good. You don't want to go more than half full. If you fill your cake pan more than half full, you're gonna end up kind of with a cupcake thing. You're gonna have a little muffin top. It'll be fine though. Be totally fine, nothing wrong with that. All right, here we are, 350. There's the proof. So here we go. I like to do the second rack from the bottom is where I like to do my cake baking. See? Plop it in the middle, close it up, turn the oven light on so that you don't, open this thing to go look in there. You don't want to be doing that. Don't do that. Look through it, don't open it. Look through it, don't open it. Set a timer for 30 minutes. Boom. There you go. See you in half an hour. All right, here we are. We're letting our cake cool. And we've got one stick of butter. I kind of mashed it up here to make it warm up to room temperature faster. But we're about there. We're close enough. I'm tired of waiting. So I've got a splash of milk. I measured my splash today. We'll call it 1/8 of a cup. And I have 2 cups, probably a little less than 2 cups of powdered sugar here. I'm going to add half that to start with. This is another, you just add this ingredient until it comes to the right consistency. See any chunks of butter? I don't see any chunks of butter. I think we're good. Oh, wait. Nope, that's a chunk of butter. I see a chunk of butter. we have a chunk of butter. We're not done yet. We gotta keep at it. Making your own buttercream builds character. Right, here we are. Our cake is at room temperature. Now, if you wanted to fill this cake in the middle, this is where you would cut it in half. Put some jam, some extra frosting, whatever you want to put in there. I'm gonna skip that today. I don't have enough frosting, and I don't want to have to make more jam. I really like this jam. So we're gonna take our white frosting, all that we have, we're gonna plop it on top here. Try to spread it out as best we can. I'm gonna go back to the knife for the edges here. It's just easier to get it in the gap. There it is. Okay, now that we have a cake for reference under our belt, let's look at my 5-step outline for my general approach to making cakes. I'm going to show you a close-up of this on the screen, and I'm going to play the theme song for the video again for like about 30 seconds so you can kind of look at it, think about it, and then I'll come back and talk about it. Alright, so first let's talk about the tools. If you let your butter warm up to room temperature, all you need is a wooden spoon or spatula and a big bowl. If you don't, and your butter's still a little cold, it's good to use a fork to mash up that butter. Helps move things along in the beginning. You might be tempted to use one of these if you have one, which is great for short crusts and biscuits. I find for this the fork works better, but yeah, up to you. It's not so bad. They both work good. Alright, step 1. The butter and the sugar. This step is all about patience and elbow grease. You just gotta keep mixing, mash that butter into that sugar, cream it all together. Be patient. Alright, step 2, the wet ingredients. For me, that's always an egg and some buttermilk. There's usually another one, some milk, some jam, some fruit juice, or even just fruit. And I add that to my cream together butter and sugar, and I mix it up till there's no big chunks in there anymore. All right, step 3, the baking mix. This is the part where we made it super easy on ourselves. I just dump it right in and stir it until it becomes the right consistency. If you like to measure amounts and stuff, I put my amounts on the screen. I look at where it is in the beginning, where it is at the end, and I do a little subtraction, figure out how much I used, and I put that up there for you. All right, step 4. Bake at 350 for 30 minutes to an hour. Most cakes are more like 30 minutes. Some cakes like carrot cake are more like an hour. But always let that oven preheat and do it on the middle or the lower middle rack. 5, let it cool is its own step because it's just that important to let the cake cool before you go moving it around trying to put frosting on it. All right, so now that I've explained my approach here, I have 2 more recipes that I think will be instructive and help you kind of figure out how to use this mix on your own and come up with your own recipes. So the first is going to be a carrot cake. Oh, everybody loves carrot cake. It's going to have a lot of carrots in it. It's loaded. It's got like 3 carrots in the cake. That's like a half a carrot per slice. It's pretty good. I'd say that's healthy. And the other recipe I'm going to show you is the fluffiest pancakes. Absolutely fluffiest pancakes. And the way I make those is much, much easier than these 5 steps. You'll see. I wanna bake a cake, but I don't know. Shred 2 medium carrots. All right, now that I've shredded my carrots, the next thing I do is put it in a pot. And I add some water, enough to cover. Then I'm going to put it on the stove over medium heat. I'm going to boil it down to mush. All right, here we are about 10 minutes in. Got our carrots here. They're still pretty firm, you know. Got a lot of water. So just give it a stir every 10 or so minutes, see where you're at. When it really starts to turn to mush, that's when you know you're on. Maybe an hour later. It's pretty much mush at this point. If you smell it, it smells like brown sugar. Really sweet. We've gotten off most of the water there. Boiled off the excess water. We haven't made it dry, right? It's still pretty wet. So what we're going to do here, just going to put it in a bowl. And we're going to let that cool off, put it in the fridge for an hour before we go on to the next step. All right, here we are. We've got our mushy carrots chilled. I've got some butter here coming up to room temperature, but we're not quite ready to get the batter going yet. We still have to shred this carrot that we've kept in reserve. All right, carrots set aside, and let's get on to the spices. So in my mortar here, I have some cloves. I'm gonna grind those up. Then I have cinnamon and nutmeg. Gonna use my planer here to grate that up. Also, I have some ground ginger here. So we've got our cooked and cooled carrots. We've got our spices ground up and ready to go. We've got our shredded raw carrot. And here we have room temperature butter. And we're gonna add in a ½ cup of sugar. We're gonna cream this together. See, it's not so hard doing this stuff by hand. We're gonna add in our cooked carrots. We're gonna mix that up. And we're gonna add in our 1 egg with our ½ cup of buttermilk, beat together here. We're also gonna add maybe, I don't know, a half teaspoon of vanilla extract. All right, let's dump in our spices too. And we'll mix that up. All right, so we're just gonna add our baking mix now until we get a nice batter. All right, we're gonna do a little more flour than that. And we're also gonna add our carrots. Don't wanna shred them too long before they'll start going brown on you. They've been sitting there for maybe 15 minutes, just starting to on some of the top ones. We'll put our batter in there. You're gonna fill it, you don't wanna go too much more than half full. I think I'm gonna have extra batter here. Might make some cupcakes or something. That's probably more than enough. Spread it out a little bit. See, this amount here might even rise up and kind of make a muffin shape a little bit, which would be fine. You know, you can cut that off. You can cut that right off. All right. So this is going in the oven on the lower middle rack. 350. We're back. We got our cake out of the pan, out of the oven. We're gonna let that cool off more while we make our icing here. So we got a stick of butter, block of cream cheese. We're gonna add some powdered sugar in here. We're just gonna add powdered sugar until it gets to be the right texture, basically, is how it works. So we're gonna add a bunch of that. Also like to add a bit of heavy cream. And some vanilla extract. All right, I'm just gonna mix it up here. Oh, look at that. Nice stiff peak there. Okay, pause. Look at that frosting. That's not right. It could take a lot more powdered sugar. It's still got chunks of butter in it. But you know what? Whipping up a buttercream is a lot of work, and I kind of just got tired of it, and once I stuck my finger in there and saw the peak, I was like, you know what? This is good enough. I can use this now, and I'm going to do it. And you can do that too. You know, I probably shouldn't because I'm on the other side of the screen, but I'm leaving it in here today to show you the point, you know, that you don't have to take it all the way to perfect. You can get tired of it and throw it on your cake and it's still going to be delicious. And there we have it. That's our cake. Still got a bunch of orange left. I made that carrot cake a few days ago. Here's what's left of it, not much. A little bit of carrot cake. Tiny little bit.
I wanna bake a cake, but I don't know how. Hold me back down to earth and help me figure it out. If I could share your worlds, I would do it now.
All right, here we are. We got our big mixing bowl. 2 eggs and 1/4 cup each of milk, buttermilk, sugar. Beat this up until it's, beat. We want it to leave a trail like this when we stir it with our whisk. But when we leave it, it should relax. And we should be able to kind of pull it out. All right, let's flip this thing. There we go. Love it, love it, love it. Perfect. Look at that color. Yum. Beautiful, fluffy, fluffy pancakes. You know, I'm gonna get my finger syrupy, just fluffy. Well, I hope you enjoyed those 3 recipes, but more than that, I hope you feel like baking is a little less intimidating now. I love my baking mix, and I think you will too. So give it a try. It's not that hard. You probably have all the stuff to make it. And by the way, I've been developing a lot of cake recipes lately, and these ones aren't even my favorite. So stay tuned, because there will be a part 2 where I'll show you how to make my caramel spice cake, my lemon lime citrus cake, and more. So I'll see you there.